I only like it because the consumer has told me that they like it. If the consumer said they liked fax machines, guess who would be sending out a lot of faxes? I'd be the king of the fax machine. I'd work that thing so hard.
I've seen them work fax machines. It's pretty awesome.
Facsimiles. All about that fax life. How's it going, everyone? Matt Leighton, Shawn Battle. Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. In today's video, we're going to be talking about open house safety, the Arlington real estate market update for Northern Virginia, and virtual tours. Shawn, how's it going today?
Good, my friend. I'm sore today.
You're sore. Why are you sore?
All right, so you know we do videos for all of our listings, right?
I do.
Yesterday, I shot a video for Lake Barcroft single family house, and I did some different things in this video. We'll see how it turns out, but you know, I don't think people realize how long these videos take and how much energy, and like when you're done with it, you're just like, boom, done, you know? So I did some different things yesterday, and so I'm a little sore. We'll
At the lake, I'm curious to know what was involved on the lake, in the lake.
Yeah, a couple different things. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see if it gets edited out or not, but it was fun.
Good. Well, a lot of activity on that listing in Lake Barcroft.
There is.
Are you going to hold an open house for that one?
I am not.
You are not.
As of right now, I'm not. And you know, I ask my clients whether they want one or not with the current conditions. You know, it's funny. The thing is, I used to be such an open house guy. I was always at every Sunday, open house, open house, open house. And lately, because of COVID, I haven't been doing them because of the regulations. And I kind of like my Sundays, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm still working, but it's not, what people don't realize is how much time open houses actually take. You know, yeah, we sit there for 2 or 3 hours, but you have to set up, you have to prep, you have to, you know, all this stuff. It takes a long time. It's a lot of effort. And is it worth it?
Sometimes one person shows up.
Sometimes one person, sometimes 25, and you can't even talk to somebody, right?
Right.
You know, the good open houses where you're actually talking to people, maybe 10, 12 people. That's kind of the norm, right? But I think the whole open house game is shifting a little bit, a lot, right, in recent times. And like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and I've always done open houses. And it seems like almost every Sunday I'm working doing these open houses. And there's a lot of agents that don't do them, and they just sit back, and that's their day to chill, you know, which is something to be said for that.
So there was an incident regarding an open house and a real estate agent in Virginia in the Smith Mountain Lake area where an absolutely horrific story where she was attacked at her open house, which brings along the questions of open house safety. Now, Shawn, you know, what we should do here is really bring on a female to talk about what it's like being a female in real estate at an open house. You know, Shawn and I are both males, you know, obviously, so we don't have that perspective. So please, we're not trying to speak for the female population, nor could we ever relate to being a female in any sense of the imagination. But it does bring up the question about whether open houses are worth it from a safety standpoint, because Shawn, here's the deal. If you are a female or a male, usually these attacks, and they happen. This person is going to live. Sometimes the attacks on realtors, whether it's through an open house or through maybe a showing, meeting at a vacant property, sometimes you know, the agent is, you know, dies, unfortunately, through these attacks. So the situation is this. At an open house, you're there for 3 hours in a vacant property. You're broadcasting to the world where you're going to be alone, usually, for 3 hours. You have signs, sometimes with your face on them, pointing directly to where you will be alone. And there are a lot of people out there that will take advantage of situations, that are stalkers, that are creepers, that are absolutely disgusting human beings. And, you know, the question is, is it even safe in 2020 to do an open house?
Yeah, and I would say to that, it probably depends, right? Depends on where you live, where you're at. If it's a rural area and there's not many places around you, that'd be a little bit scarier, I think, when you don't have immediate access to maybe a neighbor, or like us in Arlington, condo buildings. We do a lot of open houses in condos, and people have to sign in and register. So at the very beginning, at the front of the condo with the concierge. So there's a level of, there's some barriers there for us in this market. But in general, thankfully, I have never, maybe once or twice, been uncomfortable with people, but it's rare. But the truth is, this can happen a lot.
But it may not be rare for
other people,
a female.
Right.
And we're in the condo market. If you're just selling a house, there's no bodyguard, there's no front desks, there's no one watching that front door. Anyone can come in and out at any time, and they can sign in, they can give you a phony name, they don't have to sign in. So these are essentially strangers that you're walking in.
And that's a tough thing. We always ask people to sign in. And a lot of people don't want to sign in, but this is an example of why we ask people to sign in. Number one is to get your information just in case the seller wants to know who's coming through their property. We can't have eyes on every single person at every moment. And so we need to know who's coming through. And third, for your safety, if somebody doesn't sign in and then they assault somebody or do something inappropriate in an open house, we need to know who those people are.
And also with coronavirus, if you're going to a property and you don't sign in, but maybe someone at that open house was exposed to the virus, and now all of a sudden, there's 10 people and 9 of them signed in and you didn't sign in. So maybe someone, the agent tells those 9 people, hey, you might want to get tested, someone was exposed, and now all of a sudden, you may have this virus. So if you are going to an occupied property for an open house and you refuse to sign in, that is just extremely not courteous for the seller at all.
Yeah, and I understand not giving your information. You don't want to give your information out. I get it. But you're going into somebody's home.
It's a privilege to walk in. I know it's like, hey, anyone can walk in. There's balloons, there's cupcakes, there's grills outside for some agents. But if you're walking into private property and someone else's house and you refuse to sign in, that's a problem.
Yeah, and you have to remember that we're representing the seller. We are representing them and their interests. And if they don't feel comfortable with strangers walking through their house, or they do feel comfortable, but they want us to get all their information, then that's what we have to do. And if you're not going to supply that information, then don't come in. Now, what's happening now is I see the open house kind of game changing a little bit, especially now. And what people are doing is, instead of, there's Zillow and everything where people can make an appointment. But what they're doing now is, all right, so for 2 hours on Sunday, you can come to an open house, but you have to make an appointment first. So we have to know who's coming. You can't just come willy-nilly, right? You have to make that appointment, give us your email address, your contact information, and then we'll set that time for you. So we'll be there 2 hours, set your time.
And what is the point of an open house anyways? If you're a legitimate buyer and you're motivated, you're gonna see that property the day it comes on the market or the day after it comes on the market. A lot of people that are showing up for open houses, their search is 6 months out, 12 months out. They're a nosy neighbor. They want the gossip. They want to know why, John and Becky are moving and whatnot. And it's not a huge benefit to the seller. I mean, open houses, this might be something where we've just done it for eons in the real estate game and just kind of never batted an eye at it. But is this really helping the seller?
In some instances, it does. I can see where it does and where it doesn't. I think where it could is when we have one of these open houses that we've had where we have so many people in there at the same time, and it creates a buzz. And that was always our intention with open houses, is to flyer it, to get it out there, to get as many people in so that people get excited about it. And they're like, wow, this place is going to sell. We need to get things going. And that then gave us higher prices and better contracts. And I think that's where it can help. But, in the end, is safety better than that?
Yeah,
or,
and going back to the safety issue, I'm going to ask a question, and it's a very flawed question. And the question is, what can women do to protect themselves? Which is a terrible question to ask, because they shouldn't have to protect them. It shouldn't be, the victim that it has the responsibility to do this. And, I don't know if I want to live in a world where real estate agents carry guns at open houses. But if you're a female, that is on the table. I'm sure a lot of females have pepper spray, but in terms of a safety aspect, we're coming to a crossroads here, and I don't know how many single female agents where the lender's not there. I don't know how comfortable they're going to feel doing open houses.
Right. Well, there's safety features, right, when we show property. So if you're doing something through showing time, I noticed this because I had to reset everything, and I put my wife as an emergency contact, and you can set this little thing in there that says, if I don't respond, like automatically, if after 15 minutes of showing that property and I close the lockbox, if I don't turn off this alarm, it sends her a text or calls her and says, hey, Shawn hasn't responded. And so I ended up turning that thing off because she was like, what's going on? I keep getting this. And I didn't know how to work it, but there is that, right? So we could, in showing time, say, all right, we're going to do a 3-hour open house, but is that really going to protect you in that gap, right? The other thing would be, have your cell phone ready for that emergency, click the emergency button on there. But, people aren't going to get there for 15, 20 minutes, right? And so how are you going to protect yourself? Pepper spray is one, your case, jujitsu, right?
Yeah, the agent, I think was trained. She might have had a black belt, or she did some sort of self-defense class.
Did she?
But
that's good.
Again, that shouldn't be a prerequisite to hold an open house. And I want to finish this topic by saying, Shawn and I should really, bring on a female agent to get that agent's perspective, maybe like a Diane or a Brittany, someone who does a lot of business, because I just want to be very careful about this topic, that I'm not mansplaining, I'm not telling females what they should and shouldn't do. We have our perspectives. This is what we're seeing. This is the safety issues that we're seeing. Obviously, from a female's point of view, it's going to be different, and I just want to make sure that that's coming across as I intended to.
Yeah, and I think it can be dangerous for anybody. But yeah, we need to see how it all is.
I'm sure there's neighborhoods in D.C. that you don't want to do an open house in.
Well, let's be careful about that one too. All right.
So there's
there's just like areas, like rural areas, right? I mean, you just never know who's going to pop in, right? I mean, people have guns. People have, people are nuts everywhere.
Yeah.
So you just got to be careful. So, anyways.
All right. So moving on to the Arlington market. So guys, in mid-April, during the pandemic, I looked up some stats. April 13th to April 17th, there were 6 2-bedroom condos in all of Arlington. You had 6 new listings come on the market in mid-April, which is historically, right after Easter, historically a fantastic time to list the property. Lots of new listings, only 6. If you go online right now along the Roslyn to Ballston corridor, new properties listed May 1st and more recent, there are 30 new listings, even more listings coming soon. That number may be even up to 40. So you have, 6 to 7 times the amount of inventory. And that's a small sample size looking at the condos, but if you're looking at real estate trends, usually the condo market starts first, and then the townhouse and single family home market lags behind. So Shawn, what are you seeing in terms of the inventory, the interest, both on the selling and the buy side?
Yeah, we're seeing showings slower. We're seeing the amount of inventory coming on way more. Right now, there are 42, or there's 2 coming soon, and 40 active 2-bedroom, 2-baths. And Matt looked up some after May 1st and forward.
May 1st and
so this is total. We have 42 listings, 42 2-bedroom listings. 1-bedroom listings, we have 21. 1 coming soon, 20 listed. Now, if we look at for the last week, there's half of those are under 9 days, but there's one on for 60 days. So we're starting to see that trend where things are sitting a little bit longer. They're taking a little bit longer to sell. There's more inventory out there. So there were a lot of buyers out there. We crushed that buyer field and scared a lot of them away. Inventory was low, so we were still seeing the buyers that were out there compiling in on those few listings that were coming on. Now we're starting to see these listings pile up.
Do you feel like all of these 1 and 2 bedrooms are going to get multiple offers, the ones that just came on the market?
Certain ones will, no. I don't think all of them will. I think there are certain listings, I think the lower side of the market, if you're priced right or priced right at market or under, you're going to probably get multiples. If you're trying to push that market a little bit too high, you're not going to see a lot of action. We've experienced that, and we've kind of noted on where we need to be pricing things. Just because one listing gets an amazing price doesn't mean the whole market's going to follow that.
Right.
There could be an outlier in that. And I think that's, if you look at recent comps, you're going to be like, wow, look how high this thing sold. But that's because there were 5, 7, 10 people bidding on that. And now what we're seeing is a lot fewer people bidding on those, and those prices are probably not going to reach that peak again. So you have to be careful in looking at those comps and looking at the market and how many you're competing against to see where you really do price that.
Yeah, there are outliers everywhere when you're looking at comps, and I'm convinced, and prove me wrong, but if you're going to price your house and it's worth under $1 million, I'm convinced that to get the highest price, you should underprice the property anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000, maybe even $20,000 under what you feel it's worth to get the highest sales price possible. What do you feel about that?
I think you're exactly right. If you overprice it, you're going to get 1, maybe 0 offers. If you underprice it, you're going to get probably multiple offers, and that you're going to get a better contract and a higher price.
Now, you're not underpricing it by $50,000 or $100,000. I had a townhouse in Tyson's, and I signed the listing agreement. We knew we were going to go on in February, and we had been watching the market, and we're like $699. That's the price. That's what the comps are going for. And then as we got closer, a few sold in the like 720, 730 range, and our goal was $699 was to get to 715, 720. Like it was going to be underpriced because it was worth around 710. Then we saw these closing for 730, and we're like, okay, well, let's now do 724 and then try to get 735. So you're not underpricing these by $50,000, but you're just showing the buyer the value of underpricing it by like $5,000 or $10,000 so that they know that there's a deal out there, and then they go higher themselves.
Yeah, and there's certain price barriers, right? So like, that 900 mark or that million mark, if you can stay under that, if it's worth a little bit more and you can stay under that, it'll probably spring up for you. But this can all change. So this is our time in the market right now. And definitely we've seen this happen where, all right, sometimes if you underprice, it could go the wrong way, right? You could underprice and not even get that if the market starts slowing down. So you just have to know what the market is doing, follow it pretty carefully, and know a price strategy at that moment in time. Right now we're seeing single family market is really hot. And so I think if we price it at market or slightly under, you're going to get more than
if you underprice, and here's the thing, Shawn and I, we don't work in like $1.9 million properties. Right now, we've sold some in that range. We're not saying like, hey, if you have a 1.9, sell it for 1.7. But when it comes to underpricing a property, if it's, let's say, under $500,000, is there even such thing as underpricing it? Because if your strategy is to underprice it and nobody buys it, that just means that it's overpriced.
Yeah.
Is that
or that
not
there's
true?
nobody out there for that particular place, right? So I mean, I've seen it where there were 0 buyers out there. So you have to be careful when markets dip like that and there's just no buyers. That's when you don't want to underprice it like that. But you're right. If you're underpricing it and there's just no action, then
well, I think it goes back to the strategy that you have with your listing agent. Okay, so what listing price will get the highest sales price, right? So
the best contract.
What listing price will get the best contract? Where do you think this contract is going to end? Like, what sales price do you think it's going to end at? And how long is this going to take? Because if it takes 3 days, sure, underprice it, someone will bid over it. But if it takes 90 days, if the average days on market is 90, your strategy, it may be a little bit different. So there's all these nuances, and you should have a clear game plan. You know, if you're calling your agent every single day to try to get an update and you're wondering, you know, there needs to be clear communication of expectations throughout the way in terms of price strategy, timeline, and final sales price.
You're right. One other thing, I wanted to go over like the single family market. Right now in North Arlington, there are 119 single family homes either coming soon or active. A lot of those, the coming soons, there's about 12 coming soon. But out of 119, 25 of them are under $1 million. Everything else is above $1 million. So that's showing you that
That's a lot of houses.
it's a lot of houses, but a lot of those will probably go, and you've got to look at the areas too. Like, so that a lot of them are going to be Highview Park area,
So
right?
25 out of 119 are under $1 million.
Yep.
So 80, 90 of them are over $1 million.
Yeah.
There's a lot
That's
of
right.
them that are over $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's 25
Yeah.
are, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those 25 are coming soon. So there's only 19 active right now that are under $1 million, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of those are under 10 days.
All right. Maybe that's not a lot of properties.
So yeah, it's not a, yeah, when you think about it, I mean, Arlington's pretty, that's 2, you know,
Yeah.
2 up to 1, 3, whatever. So, you know, I'd like to see, all right, anyways, keep talking, but I'm going
Yeah.
to look at how many of those are above 2 million, right? I mean, like, there's more above 2 million than there are under 1 million.
That's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on the Arlington market. And the third topic that we wanted to cover today are the virtual tours. You know, guys, from March to May, I saw a lot of IG lives going on right now. I don't see too many IG lives the past month or so. You know, it's easy to keep people inside when it's cold out. It's not so easy to keep people inside and off of Instagram Live when it's nice golf playing, beach going weather. So in terms of virtual tours for real estate agents, a lot of agents have said, whether it's through Realtor Facebook groups, whether it's through connections that we have, that, you know, some agents, they don't include a floor plan. They don't include a virtual tour, a 3D tour. They don't include a video. Now we've seen a bunch of 3D tours, a bunch of videos, a bunch of floor plans, and it's honestly awesome. It's not awesome because I love videos. It's awesome because the consumer loves videos and they love 3D tours and they love floor plans. No matter what an agent feels about a 3D tour, whether it's clunky, whether they don't like it, whether it makes them dizzy, that's all fun and games, but like, it doesn't matter what you feel about it. What does the consumer feel and what does the consumer expect? Shawn, do you think that virtual tours were the flavor of quarantine and, you know, agents did them to appease their sellers? Or do you think those agents that didn't do them before, that are doing them now, will keep doing them in the future?
It'll go both ways. There's going to be your agents that excel, that want to give a better service, and they're going to keep doing them. We've been doing them for years, and, you know, virtual tours, 3D tours have been around for what, 7 years, 6 or 7 years. We were one of the first groups to do it, and I said this is going to be game changing, but it didn't catch on. But now people are like, wow, now I see the value of this, to have allow people to do it. So I think once this whole COVID thing hopefully shies away a little bit and people are getting out there more, agents will probably shy away from doing it. We're going to still do it, and I think most of the agents that want a good reputation and supplying everything that they can for their listing will keep doing it. But truthfully, a lot of agents don't want to spend the money. They don't want to spend the time, especially for videos. You know, we do videos for every listing, and do you know how much work that is? I mean, to write a script, to get a videographer in there, the time it takes to actually film, edit it, it is a lot of work, and most agents aren't going to do it. They'll do one, and they'll be like, wow, that was a lot. Maybe I won't do it again. And it's costly, right? It's very costly. 3D tours, they're not super expensive, and you should be doing them. Floor plans, $50 to $85, something like that, you know, to create a floor plan. I think it's worth it every single time. I just did it for the house in Lake Barcroft, and I mean, the house is big, and you needed a floor plan, you know, and so it's a 4-level house when it comes down to it. And
People want to know floor plans, whether it's a 4-level house or a studio. I just got done showing a studio in Foggy Bottom, and my client is interested, and he's like, hey, can we get a floor plan or a 3D tour? This was actually before we saw it. He wanted these, and he's like, hey, can we get a video or something? And I asked the agent, hey, can you send over any tours that you have? And she sent over a hand-drawn diagram of a floor plan, just drawn out, not to scale. And you know, she works for one of these brokerages that flaunts being a technology-forward brokerage. So she seems like a nice enough agent, but is that why you're paying her 6%? Is that what you expect? When you hire a professional real estate agent, are you expecting an arts and crafts drawn floor plan, or are you expecting a professional to handle it? I'm embarrassed that I had to send a hand-drawn, it looked like a 4th grader drew it, a hand-drawn floor plan. It's 2020. We as real estate agents need to be better as agents to both our clients and our consumers. And something hand-drawn, I applaud the effort, but it shouldn't have never even gotten to that point. Get a professional to do that. Don't send me a slideshow. Don't send me a chicken scratch floor plan. Send me something professional.
Yeah, and do you know how easy it is to get a floor plan if you're doing a 3D tour? Super easy. So that, you know, you've already done the 3D tour. Now you just say, yeah, I want the floor plan, and all they have to do is press one more button, do a quick scan, and that's it. And you have these floor plans. And they're amazing floor plans. You know, PDFs, great quality, and you know, you could send those out, print them out, have them in your listing. You got to do it.
Just
I mean,
raising the bar one listing at a time. You know,
bar.
there was a time when agents didn't do professional photos, and I know that time is still now because there are some agents that still don't do it, but we're going to look back on this and think, yeah, we were the only people doing video, and now it'd be weird if listings didn't have video. Just think about real estate 10 years from now. Do you think there's going to be more video or less video? And it's not just because I like videos. I only like it because the consumer has told me that they like it. If the consumer said they liked fax machines, guess who would be sending out a lot of faxes? I'd be the king of the fax machine. I'd work that thing so hard.
I've seen them work fax machines. It's pretty awesome.
Facsimiles, all about that fax life. But I'm only doing that because it helps the consumer and it's better quality in the long run for the industry.
The consumer makes the decisions. If they want it, we have to give it to them, and they want it. They want the 3D tours. They want the floor plans. They want the video. We've seen it because we do it, and we see the reaction for it. So the real estate market's going to continue to change, and if you don't change with it, you're going to be that person that's still taking the pictures with your phone. Sorry.
Like you see the arm like creeping into the bathroom.
It's out my car window.
Yeah.
You know?
Cool.
And that's another thing is like coming soon listings. There are some people that'll put up coming soon listings and they'll just have a picture of the front of the house with like a hand in it. And I'm like, I always tell my clients, listen, I'm okay with coming soon listings. It can benefit you, but I'm not going to do it until I have all the pictures, right? So we might as well just go on the market because I'm not going to represent a listing with crappy pictures ever. So yeah.
Cool. You got anything else?
That's it. You guys, thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching for Shawn and myself. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.